Hello, welcome to this video. Now in this video I'm going to be rewiring the exhaust, as well as we are going to be putting two tunes on the car. So your regular stage 2 and a flame map. Just out of curiosity, the initial rewiring portion of the video was filmed like 2 months ago, and that other part, which is programming and putting the map on, was filmed like this week. So enjoy, and again, huge shout out for the support. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the video.
Depo On Da Beat.
Hello and welcome to today's video, and in today's video we are finally going to do up the wires that are leading to the exhaust, or from the exhaust to the control unit. We're also going to code the car to remove the cats, and I may have a look at the clamps, but we will see how this is going to go. It is quite cold and icy, and I suspect that in about a week or two I'm not going to drive out the M3 for probably like 2 months. But here it is. Again, shout out to my parents for actually letting me put this fucking garage in the middle of the yard. It's quite big, you can't really park any other car in here. I've removed everything from the trunk pretty much, and I want to give myself kind of the most space as possible. Let me kind of zoom this out. Now, looking at this logically, there is no other better way of routing those cables because of this metal tab right here. Maybe we can kind of get it over this right here, hopefully you can see, and route them somewhere underneath. But again, it is going to be kind of pressed on right here. I'm gonna have to think about it, but definitely the way to go would be to route those wires over this, just so they aren't pressed against the metal tab. Maybe we can kind of guide them in behind here. I'm not sure. This is a future me problem. But for now, what we gotta do is we gotta disconnect the power cable. So the one right here and the one right here. Well, power cable of the hub. I've undone the cables from the valve system, and I forgot how large this screw is. We may have a problem right here, but this should be pretty straightforward. Now, obviously we are going to take the power cable home, but let me show you. So essentially, I'll go over this more in detail at home, but this is what I got. We're going to crimp the wire with those little, whatever you want to call them, connectors. Let's call them connectors for the sake of this video. And essentially we are going to put those connectors over the screws. I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard to see, but instead of having a loose wire wrapped around, we're going to do it like this. But those aren't big enough to fit this large screw right here from the IBS, but we definitely have the right size to fit the negative terminal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick out the ones that we are going to use for a negative and positive terminal, and I'm pretty sure that for our positive, what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those bad boys and just bend it up so it's wide enough in order to fit under the bolt and bolt it in, and that should essentially work. To be honest, I'm not even surprised. In working on car fashion, it do be like that. So yeah, now let me show you the components we are going to be using. The power cable is extremely long, but I am not going to shorten it because you never know when it might come handy to have, you know, a bit of extra cable or wire. You've already seen the connectors. Let me see if I can get a focus on them. Yes, I have already dropped this box and mixed all of them up. Also, we have a cable with built-in resistor. This will make sure that the actual I guess valve hub isn't going to blow or anything, so this is just a precaution. Technically you'd probably get away without using this, but I am going to. And I also got myself, some of it fell out, but I also got myself some solderless connectors. Now my solder is pretty old, so it's not going to hold as well. I've never used those before. They may be good, they may be bad, but we will find out in the video. And we obviously have our tool to strip the wire and crimp the connectors. Now, the way this resisted wire kind of works, whatever you want to call it, is that if I was to cut this, which I am going to do, like so, and if I was to feed some power from this end, there would be no power over to this end until we pop in a resistor. This completes the circuit, and if the resistance is going to go over a certain threshold, in this example we're using 10 amps, I think it's 10 amps, whatever, resistor, it's going to blow the resistor and it's not going to damage whatever is on the other end, and in this case it is going to be the valve hub. So now here is our positive terminal, our negative terminal, pretty much all done. It actually turned out better than I have expected. And now just to essentially finish this off, I'm probably gonna end up bringing this and doing this at the car to make sure that this does fit, but we can literally cramp this like so and kind of pull one direction in order for the two legs to kind of spread. But now let's ask my bro if he wants to help, because it's already dark outside and I'm probably gonna be holding a light in one hand. I got some help. I am freezing my balls off, so let's just do this pretty rapidly. Now I have unplugged all of the cables from the control box, and first thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to lead the, I guess, wires for the valves around. As I've said, I think this is going to be kind of the best spot, so they're going to go around and under. Okay, so one valve is done. I think this is going to be the best place for the cables, because even if something stands on top, it's a flat surface pushing against the cable compared to this kind of sharp metal edge. So let's do the same thing with the other one. And here are essentially our valve cables. So I can plug this one back in. We are probably going to place our controller here. I'm probably going to get some double-sided sticky tape, stick it here, and it's going to be here permanently. Well, obviously until we remove it. This, let's Velcro it and plug it back in. That is looking significantly better. Now, the hardest part, passing those through so they don't rip. Now actually the connection, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it, but this is actually so stable that there's no way those connectors are coming off anytime soon. So let's pass them through. And here we are. Now I should have made this one longer instead of this one, because again cables are gonna come here, but it is what it is at this point. And again, as I've said, this is too big to fit in, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna essentially stretch this to be wider. So let me do that now. And as I'm gonna twist this on, it should essentially form to what we want it to form to. Yeah, this is going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. I'm gonna try to give you the best close-up. So if you can make a close-up here from the top, you can see that it's not fully over the screw, but if you zoom in, you can see that it's just enough to be under the, I guess, nut. So it is squeezed in, and it does kind of take positive power from here. Yeah, I guess this is kind of the best way to describe it. We're gonna do the same thing to the negative terminal, except it is going to be a lot easier because this is just gonna go over the bolt. There's a little notch here, and that goes in perfect. But now, as I was saying, there's a little, I guess, washer. So let us put our negative terminal over. Let's see if we can kind of maybe route this under, just so it's kind of away. Now you can already see the green light here, but let's give it a test. You can probably hear the valves working. Let's show them the valves. So you can see inside, I'm not sure how well you can see, both are working. Now, let me get some light on myself. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna literally go home, grab double-sided tape that I got with this. I'm gonna stick it on like so, so this doesn't move around. I'm not sure why I have two warning triangles. And I'm gonna put everything back in here. And this is gonna be our exhaust wired up properly. What's left to do is coding. We're gonna do that after New Year's. It's actually New Year's today. Happy New Year's, but I'm not sure when you're gonna be watching this video. So, part 2. Now, I'm filming this like 2 or 3 months after filming the original wiring video think it's closer to 3 months, because I was waiting for the map and for the license for so long. We are going to be using Alpine MSS, and let me explain what I mean. So this car came with Alpine MSS. The previous owner gave me everything I need, which is all of the files, the dongle. Yes, you need a specialized dongle for that, and I've requested some maps initially like 3 months ago, and I was told that I'm not allowed to request maps because I'm not the original owner. They can get the license transferred over to me for a cost of $60, which I was willing to pay. So I got the original owner to email them, and it took them 4 weeks since the original owner emailed them, and then I've emailed Alpine again, and I've waited like a week until I got a link for the license transfer. And so I transferred over the license, and then I've requested a map and waited another 3-4 days for the map to arrive. I will give you more information on this whole Alpine MSS process as we are going to go on ahead. I'll talk about the tune that we are going to be putting on the car. But what we are risking here today, we are risking bricking the M3, which shouldn't really happen, although I did brick my 335 with an MHD. But the reward is, if it works, we're gonna test out the map, which is stage 2. I'll talk more about it later. And we're gonna go to get a kebab, which today, I'm not gonna lie, it would be a nice reward for the day that today was. So first thing first, I'm gonna connect the charger to the car. Again, like the whole process should take about 2-3 minutes. I don't want to risk it, obviously. Everything is set up now. There is, hopefully you can see that OBD dongle which Alpine sends. It's already plugged in. It is flashing in green every so often. We do have the Alpine MSS software on the screen right now, and I will talk more about it or show you up close what I'm doing. Now, this is going to be slightly different to if you were to get Alpine MSS for the first time. This car already has an Alpine MSS map flashed onto it. Now, if you were doing it for the first time, you will get all of the links, you will get a readme, you will get, also there's an unlisted tutorial which you can watch. It's very clear and easy to follow, but you will essentially need to flash one file in order to be able to flash the maps that you want. Here, we are directly going to be flashing a map. Now, the map which I'm going to be flashing, it's a stage 2. Stage 2 98 run, which is higher octane compared to 95 run, which we usually use here over in Poland. Vmax is off. I have the launch control, which is just a rev limiter when stationary, and yeah, that's about it. Now, I chose stage 2 because supposedly, from what my friends were telling me that have Alpine MSS, back in the day, you used to get an email saying that stage 2 was primarily for cars that have primary or both primary and secondary cat delete. When I was requesting a map, I've made sure to say that the exhaust, it has no cats. If you're a cop, just ignore this. And that I got an AFE carbon air intake, which again plays a role in this entire, I guess, setup in order to give us the most power. Now, I'm not sure if I can request stage 1 map and have, you know, the cats deleted as well as the carbon air intake taken into account. So for now, I'm going to do stage 2. Again, I don't want to put more pressure on this car than necessary, because again, like the way this car was out of factory, it's fast enough to where you can enjoy it. So here I'm going to do my best to show you what's going on. So this is essentially the starting screen. Now what we need to do now is it basically tells you what's up with it, what is possible with this app, and we're just going to click next. And now what it's looking for is the power to be on. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake, press this once. Now this is a manual. If you had an automatic, all you have to do is just press this once. Yep, the annoying kind of sound. And you can see that all of the lights are on, all of them are green, and I can basically press next here. So let's press next. Also, I'm gonna turn off all my electronics. I know that I have everything kind of hooked up, the battery is charging, but again, better to be safe. One thing which you kind of need when requesting a map is a piece of information that will display right here, which essentially is a software version of your DME, and you kind of need this for requesting a map. I'm gonna put pictures up on the screen of the place where you need it for the maps, and then essentially I'm gonna show you where to find it, which is gonna be here soon. So here again, I have some of my information like the ECU. I'm probably going to blur my VIN out. I'm not sure. It feels weird to be kind of, you know, showing your VIN, but yeah. So on this screen, just press next. And then here we are in the main kind of control area. Now, this hardware reference number right here, my one ends in EEKUV0, which means that this is a US one. Now, I think there are 4 or 5 variants, but this is a US one, so I just chose US, and I think Canada was the options. So now, let's actually go over to program. So if we go on program ECU memory, we should be able to look for the, I guess, file. So I'm going to look for it now. Okay, so hopefully this is visible, but this here is my map. This is the name of it, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to press open, and currently you can see that it is doing something. So we're just going to follow the steps. So there's communication in progress, do not interrupt. So we are just going to be kind of waiting. You can see that, you know, the screen itself is kind of freaking out, which is okay. So we're gonna let it do its thing. And again, it is going to keep on freaking out, so don't kind of panic. First time when you actually run, I think the file that you need to run for the first time, it is going to allow you to back up your old ECU. So at the very least, if ECU will be bricked, you won't be able to start the car, but there will still be communication with it, if I'm kind of thinking correctly. So worst case scenario, you can put your old kind of ECU map back onto your ECU. And with my 335, what happened was it got bricked, and all I had to do was just disconnect my battery for 15 minutes. And once that happened, the ECU has resetted. I'm not sure if it would be the same in this case, but it is something that I don't want to try. But if you will be stuck, you can give it a go, but it's still programming, so I'll be back whenever it actually finishes. Please switch the ignition into the off position. Okay, so the ignition is off. I've just pressed the start stop button, so you can see that the fuel gauge is back to its stationary position. So now there's something for me to press, which is the, I guess, ignition off. So ignition is off. Gonna wait for this to finish. We see that ECU has been successfully programmed, which is interesting. I'm gonna press OK. The valves are off, by the way. Everything is looking like normal. Okay, so I think everything works. I'm gonna go on a drive for the kebab, and I will update you how the stage 2 map feels. Hopefully it feels as my friends described it to me. Now let's finish up the video. So stage 2, I've put on stage 2 and it made significant difference in torque, and I felt a bit more power, but let me kind of narrow down on this. I drove this car without cats, so the back pressure was different, so maybe the car wasn't its full power before the actual map, so the car was a bit slower since I put the exhaust on. And now not only I have regained that power because of the back pressure fix, because of lack of cats, but also in addition I should have gained additional few horsepower. I also have put on a flame map, which you can see, or you will see right here. Again, it's hard to see during the day, but the flames are decent size. So hopefully I've enjoyed this video. Again, thank you for all of the massive support. Now last week we've put out a video, 2,133 subs. Now we are at 2,355 at the moment, which is crazy. So huge shout out to you for liking, subscribing, following and everything else. I hope you're having a great day, and I wish you the very best of the week, and to the next one.